A beautiful good morning to you and welcome to Quest Today's newspaper headlines and the review. And it's coming every other morning at 7:30. My name is Ifoma Anukwa. This beautiful morning, Wednesday morning as a matter of fact, it's midweek already. We are going to have a look at the major stories standing, or rather sitting. I think I prefer sitting in the front covers of our national dailies. First, let us have a look at the Vanguard newspaper. And this morning, the big story on the Vanguard newspaper says 2027 reps cave in, back Senate on Electoral Act amendment. 2027 reps cave in, back Senate on Electoral Act amendment. Yes, there was a minority caucus stage walkout over adoption of manual electronic transmission of results. And of course also police tear gas protesters at NAS. Labour, civil society demand mandatory e-transmission, and a whole lot of story you can find in that particular story in the Vanguard. Away from that, we also have Tinubu unveils Nigeria industrial policy, demands speedy implementation. Tinubu unveils Nigeria industrial policy, demands speedy implementation. Also in the front cover of the Vanguard newspaper this morning, Dangote signs $400 million equipment deal to fast-track refinery expansion. Dangote is not relenting. All right, he's making achievements to make sure you and I, as Nigerians, at least have some relief when it comes to petrol to fuel. All right, armed men abduct 6 travelers on Makodi Naka Road, demand 100 million naira ransom. We are still on it. The abduction, banditry, terrorism, all under insecurity. I'm still very hopeful. One morning I'll go through the front covers of our national dailies without seeing any attack, any abduction. I'm very, very hopeful about that. Nigeria, others ignore our judgment. ECOWAS court laments. Nigeria, others ignore our judgment. ECOWAS court laments. And very quickly, release Kanu or return him to Kenya. Southeast monarch tells Tinubu. Release Kanu or return him to Kenya. Southeast monarch tells Tinubu. All right. No equivalence between Kanu, Igboho. This is coming from presidency. All right. There was an event where a monarch from the southeast part of Nigeria was asking Mr. President to consider, letting Madanande Kanu go. And that was because the Ooni of Ife was preparing to give a chieftaincy title to Sunday Igboho. So this monarch was asking Mr. President, what's the difference between the two persons? And coming from the presidency this morning, said no equivalence between Kanu and Igboho. Go read that story for yourself. Lent, Ramadan begin today. That's another story. And finally, on the Vanguard newspaper this morning, Tinubu, Trump, Harris, others mourn as U.S. civil rights leader Jesse Jackson dies at 84. And these are the stories we have in the front cover of the Vanguard newspaper this morning as we move over to the Punch, Nigerian Tribune rather, newspaper. Let's have a look. The big story there is still on the electoral amendment bill. Senate in division, reps in rowdy session. Senate in division, reps in rowdy session. As lawmakers pass e-transmission with manual backup, minority reps walk out of session as Green Chamber reduces timeline on notice of election to 300 days. You may also want to read the story there. INEC to review election timeline to exclude Ramadan period. That's a big story on the Nigerian Tribune this morning. How Owo Catholic Church terrorists attack was planned, executed. DSS witness tells the court. DSS witness is telling the court that Owo Catholic attack, the terrorist attack, was planned. So find out in details what that story is all about. Nigeria loses 8 trillion naira yearly to concession waivers. This is coming from Reps. And also, prioritize investment in human capital to drive $1 trillion ambition. World Bank is telling Nigeria to prioritize investment in human capital to drive $1 trillion ambition. Oh, okay. We are going to find out what that story is about. El-Rufai spent second day in EFCC custody. El-Rufai spent second day in EFCC custody. All right. We also have a story from the NADDC as they commissioned automotive training center in Potiskum. All right. That's a new development. Sultan confirms moon sighting, declares today first day of Ramadan. And finally here, chaos as Ondo APC meeting turns bloody. Chaos as Ondo APC meeting turns bloody. Hoodlums disrupt meeting, beat party chairman, injure other leaders. All these things happening in Ondo APC meeting. And that will take us away from the Nigerian Tribune as we step onto the next paper, which is the Punch newspaper this beautiful Wednesday morning. Of course, the same story sitting gallantly and boldly in almost all the front covers of the dailies. 2027 elections, lawmakers protest as NAS okays e-transmission manual backup, okay? And another story we have is on Ramadan. Lent begin today across the globe. Ondo APC chair beaten as party meeting erupts in chaos. NUPRC moves to end crude theft with first metering facility. And we also see another story on the front cover of the Punch newspaper this morning. Cash crunch. Ministers lament as 10 trillion naira capital funding stalls. Cash crunch. Ministers lament as 10 trillion naira capital funding stalls. And finally, is that the final? No, I don't think that's the final story. And Nigeria loses 1.76 trillion naira after missing OPEC quota. That's a loss. Nigeria loses 1.76 trillion naira after missing OPEC quota. And then, finally, on the Punch newspaper this morning, 432 billion naira probe. EFCC extends El-Rufai detention as lawyer pushes for bail. Very quickly, can we run to the final newspaper this morning, which is the Guardian newspaper, before I hand you over to my team. 2027 elections take shape as APC majority prevails, legal tussle looms. Okay, that's from the Guardian newspaper this morning. 2027 elections take shape as APC majority prevails and legal tussle looms. Experts raise alarm over drug use in surge. Over drug use surge in Nigeria. Others. Experts raise alarm over drug use surge in Nigeria. Others. You'll agree with me that recently we saw a story that happened in Anambra State where an apprentice killed his master, who happened to be his blood relative, with a pestle. And stories around that had it that, you know, his boss had corrected him, had cautioned him, had, you know, reprimanded him because he is taking substances. And experts are here now telling us that there is a surge in drug use in Nigeria. All right, Zamfara governor alleges exclusion from federal government support over party affiliation. Remi Tinubu seeks prayers for Nigeria as Lent, Ramadan begin. And finally, on the Guardian newspaper this morning, the story that is going to end it for us this morning is Niger residents flee to Benin Republic as terrorists invade Bogu again. Niger residents flee to Benin Republic as terrorists invade Bogu again. And that's a wrap on the national dailies that we're able to take a look at this morning with these big stories on the National Assemblies and they have be able to, agree on the e-transmission and, of course, a backup. At this point in time, I am going to hand you over to the gentlemen of my team who are sitting, waiting to, say something. Good morning, gentlemen. Praise and Samson.
Good morning, Ifoma. What a nice day it is. Good morning, Samson.
And Praise, good morning to you. Ify, thank you so much for that newspaper review, and good morning.
Yeah. Yes, good morning, Nigeria. What a beautiful day it is already. Of course, the team is ready. Ifoma started on a brilliant note, taking us through the front covers of the dailies this morning. And it's all about the electoral amendment bill.
Back and forth. Back.
I don't know if you guys actually saw what transpired between, in the Senate and in the House of Reps yesterday. It was quite, I don't want to say remarkable, but it was funny. And then protesters were tear gassed yesterday.
It's a mixed feeling. You can't help but watch those proceedings yesterday in both chambers and feel a mixture of anger plus amusement. Do you understand? Because it's such a funny thing to see. Because as far as I'm concerned, some of them disgraced themselves before the eyes of Nigerians yesterday, especially the Deputy Speaker of the House of Representatives.
Yeah, Ben Kalu.
As far as I saw him yesterday, he disgraced himself. Look at what he was doing. It was obvious that he was going against protocol. Do you understand? And you can't help but wonder what is this man driving towards? Is this what this man is supposed to be doing? It was obvious to me yesterday that he wasn't really out there for Nigerians at all.
And to think that this man is a leader that Nigerians are looking up to, and the way he displayed what he did yesterday, even when his colleagues were calling his attention.
You understand?
He kept on hitting the guy. Oh my, oh my.
Well, it has passed third reading according to reports as lawmakers keep on protesting. In fact, yesterday it was a massive protest as Nigerians took out to the streets to express their grievances about the Electoral Act. And all they are demanding for is a real-time transmission of election results. Also, we still have on the front covers of our dailies this morning, El-Rufai, okay, thank you very much. Still the 2027 election takes shape as APC majority prevails. But then I want us to take a look at the Punch newspaper, where El-Rufai still in custody. Of course, El-Rufai is now, I mean, after conversations about the Electoral Act, it is El-Rufai that is still topping conversations across different papers. But then 432 billion naira probe, he's still in custody as they are trying to push bail for. Do you think El-Rufai overstepped in some of the allegations leveled against the NSA?
I think he overstepped, okay? He overstepped, but then to an extent you begin to, like he leveled, one of the allegations he leveled against the NSA was that the NSA imported some chemicals, dangerous chemicals.
Into the country.
That's
a heavy accusation.
And yesterday during the unleash of, let me call it, okay, let me not take it too far. During the protest yesterday, when the police were shooting tear gas, some of the protesters were alleging that some chemicals, honestly, it was beyond tear gas yesterday for them. Okay, but now El Rufai could say that corroborates what he alleged against the NSA. But then the thing is, I think he overdid it. Now, the part where he especially overdid it was where he alleged that he tapped the NSA's phone. And that in itself...
He didn't actually allege. He said
he claims, actually, he claimed that he tapped the NSA's phone.
Did he tap? He said someone he knew tapped and informed him. I think that's an adjustment when the interviewer asked him, how did you know? You know,
whatever way.
He's on the know.
This is the phone or a phone of the National Security Advisor of Nigeria.
That's a top position.
I mean, you don't do that.
And in fact, somebody in the U.S. government has even ridiculed Ribadu and Nigeria at large. That in fact Nigeria keeps failing against its fight against terrorism, against bandits and the rest, because it has an NSA whose phone could be tapped.
But then the president actually praised Nuhu Ribadu yesterday, and he said he's
son of the soil.
Well, let's just let's keep monitoring developments. Up next is the big story. Thank you so much once again, team. And let's go on a break. When we return, of course, our conversation this morning is going to be centered around the Electoral Act that has generated controversy. And then on what's trending, we'll take a look at one APC supporter spraying money, you know. And then from the business segment, Ifoma will be taking us through the new changes made by the Central Bank of Nigeria. Stay tuned. We have a lot in store for you this morning. We'll be back in a moment.